It's Friday. It's time for another truck news recap. Hey, it's Tim. Pickup truck plus SUV talk. I'm here in a very rainy Napa Valley, California, inside my room doing this. Let me show you the exterior of the outside. It's pouring down rain. Been pouring down rain all day. Was here doing the Lexus LX 700 drive, but in the pouring rain. So it's what it is. But let's talk about this week on Truck News Recap. We're going to talk about GM forecasting some pricing differences coming from some proposed tariffs. How much more your Chevy truck and GMC truck could cost you. It's been a hot topic. Make sure we talk about this. We're also going to talk about the Tundra dually diesel. This came up this week twice in two different forums I was in on a Facebook post. I explained why Toyota's not doing diesels in the United States, what the theory behind that is. And then I had to do a bio for myself this week and thought I'd share the details with you because, wow, I got links everywhere. It's pretty crazy. So what are we talking about? We're talking about here on my friends on gm-trucks.com. Remember the story that Reuters put out, I believe, that talked about what would happen if President Trump were to impose his tariffs in Mexico and Canada. Okay, beyond the politics of if it's right or wrong, whatever you guys feel about that, what's going to happen? What's going to cost you in your pocketbook? Well, the forecast says that GM and Chevrolet Silverado trucks could run up to $13,700 more than you're paying right now. Now, hold on. How they get the information? Where the number come from? Great questions. So what they kind of look at stuff is GM as a whole versus Ford and Stellantis and Toyota and stuff like that builds a lot of vehicles in Mexico. This would affect all those vehicles in Mexico, which there are several of the popular trim levels of GM's trucks that are assembled in Mexico, and as well as parts essential for the assembly. So what they said was if they went ahead and did the tariffs of 25%, that either the automaker like GM's going to absorb those costs, which according to the last profit they put out, they were only up by 9%. Investors hated that. So I doubt that idea is going to work out for GM to do that. They'll probably pass the cost off the buyers, like we see with other vehicles like the Ineos Grenadier I'll get to in a minute. So if they do that, so if a new Silverado average price about $55,000, you add a 25% tariff to that number, you're going to add $13,700 to the total cost. Okay, that's how the math works out. Think about higher trim levels though. Think about the $70,000, the $80,000, like the Denali's and things. They can get even more expensive, and we can see this happening, like I said, with the Ineos Grenadier. So if you look at the Grenadier, this is an imported truck from Britain, truck and SUV. The station wagon is $75,100. The same exact vehicle, but in a truck, is $86,900. Why? There's a 25% tariff on trucks coming in, part of the chicken tax. Inuit has taken some of that on the chin, right? So the math doesn't work out. So the math should be 7, then 7 again, 14,000. Half of that should be $17,000 more. We see the difference is only $11,000 more. So we're taking a little bit on the chin with that. But any truck imported in the United States that's a foreign built truck that excludes Mexico and Canada because they're part of this big agreement we have, they get a tariff on them. So that's what they're saying. If those agreements go away and we get rid of the agreements Canada and agreement to Mexico, just the Mexican portion of this is $13,000. Now GM does build trucks in Oshawa, where they had been. They go back and forth. I can't remember the latest news at that plant. Now the other thing that's going to happen is going to be parts availability. Parts going to slow down. The price parts going to go up. So there's a lot of things going to happen with that going through. So hey, like it, hate it, whatever. I don't care what's going on in politics with that. I'm just saying, if you're looking about buying a truck now versus waiting for maybe lower interest rates, I'm not sure I'd be waiting too much longer. You may want to go full in, depending what happens going on, because there's a lot of unknowns right now, which nobody likes. Automakers hate it, journalists hate it, everybody hates it. Well, I guess I don't hate it. It's interesting stuff to report on. Keeps me talking about stuff. Okay, let's talk about this bad boy. Remember, this was 2008 Toyota Tundra. They showcased this at the SEMA show. Sorry if you listen to a podcast, you can't see this beautiful work of art. It is a modified crew cab Tundra with bigger towing mirrors, with KC lights on top, a bull bar in the front, dually for the rear axle. They put an 8-liter Hino diesel engine in there. Now, Toyota owns part of Hino. It's like a subsidy company. So they put the Hino in there. Hino is a worldwide manufacturer of trucks and engines. So they brought this out. People got really excited back then. I remember I had to do like a dozen stories of this thing. People would not stop reading stories about it. They loved it. They were like, why doesn't Toyota bring this out to marketplace, build the United States? They sell 1,000 of these, or 10,000, or 100,000 of these. I hear it all the time from people in forums and Facebook and here on the channel. You see them in comments just occasionally. Seems like every 6 months to a year, this topic rears its head again. People want to talk about it. And so what we have here is we have a vehicle that Toyota is never going to build. And there's many reasons for this. And people will say EPA hates diesels. They'll say this, that, and the other. It really comes down to straight business. Toyota uses diesels globally. They don't use as many as they used to because as a corporation, they don't want to. Toyota doesn't love diesels. They build them because they have to. Some customers want them, but they see them in the same light the EPA sees them, the same light that Euro 6 standard sees them, the same light that China sees them. Diesel does emit more NOx gases, and people love it or hate it, whatever. But that's the current climate that we're in, talking about diesel engines. Number one, Toyota's just against it as a company, as a company core value. Number two, the half-ton truck market is pretty competitive. Silverado 1500, Sierra 1500, Toyota Tundra, the Nissan Titan, Ram 1500. It's a really competitive marketplace. Nissan's tried twice now to bring Titan back and has failed both times. Toyota sees this. They know that the market's really competitive, but they also know that the heavy-duty market's even more competitive. You go to any place, the guys are wearing Cummins shirts or Power Stroke shirts, or they're wearing Duramax shirts and hats. And I mean, it's a very brand loyal business. And a lot of that business is based on commercial operations. The commercial operations want to deal with the same brand for 20 years because they want to teach their techs how to work on them. They want to buy parts breakdown consistently. They want to stock this stuff as far as items like oil filters and air filters and maybe brake pads and things. They know of serviceable items. They want to keep those in their warehouses. So it's really hard in the heavy duty space, especially heavy duty space, to have what's called a conquest sale, where you're trying to move a fleet that was all Fords to become a GM fleet. That's really hard to do because fleets don't want to change. They want to keep using what they've used for years because that's how they make the money in the business. They're very consistent as far as the vehicles they buy. So for Toyota to get in that marketplace, the heavy duty marketplace, would be uber expensive. And the fact is, this is only United States marketplace. These trucks don't exist globally. Globally, they have K trucks. They have different types of trucks globally. So you got to ask a company that's one of the world's largest automakers to invest billions, if not trillions, to gain a little bit of market share in North America. It just doesn't make business sense. Now, people will say, well, hey, the engineers don't want, they can't push for it, they're not winning. I'll tell you right now, all the engineering group I've talked to at Toyota, they would love a 3/4 ton. They don't really need a 1 ton that often, but 3/4 ton, they'd want a 3/4 ton, like power wagon looking thing, lifted tires, all that kind of works, and they want a diesel in the hood. Those guys would love that stuff. They would absolutely love to have one like that. But they also understand the bigger picture with the economics of why Toyota doesn't do a diesel. So if you're looking for the answer, and there's always people going to speculate and throw out different ideas and stuff, the truth is Toyota themselves don't like diesels. They've said it in multiple different statements, things. Globally, diesel demand is up and down because we've had cities like Paris and China and places that have put restrictions on trucks in certain provinces. In China, for example, operating during the day, they want to cut down emissions. They're really the global focus on diesel isn't looking good. A lot of countries, a lot of people just don't like it. It's too smoky, do the big black burnouts. I mean, and diesel guys aren't always helping themselves either, right? So you're deleting stuff, you're tossing stuff in the can, you're straight piping stuff, you're making this black smoke come out. The optics of it don't look good, right? Do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you elsewhere, but it just doesn't look good. And so you have that situation going on, and then you have the business case, and you have there's just doesn't make sense for Toyota to do that. So that's what's going on with that story. And again, I get that question about it, and it makes sense. People get excited. They want their brand. They want their brand to compete in all the segments, and they want to buy a Toyota heavy duty. Again, Toyota would do that. They would build heavy duty if they could, if the stigma around diesels wasn't there, and they could figure out a business case for it, and just haven't found so far. Now, for those who are curious, I'd write a profile about Tim Esterdahl in this case. I had to write a bio page because Google has changed up the algorithms, if I can say it right, algorithms. And so we need to figure stuff out. So here's this handsome man sitting in his office. Sorry if you guys are on the podcast, can't see this handsome dude on your on your phone or your radio you listen to. So that was interesting. So just some basic stuff. 2011 started covering the industry, publisher, that kind of stuff. But I thought it was had to go back in time, and I created these links because we need these links. That's what Google's want. But I did start my career running Tundra headquarters and Tacoma headquarters, which, by the way, Tundra headquarters was still up last time I checked. Yep, there it is. The December 26th, 2016 was the last time I wrote a story for them. That seems like an eons ago. Tacoma headquarters wasn't up when I checked it. I did provide freelance writing to sites like eBay Motors, Carfax, Motor One, Motor Trend, Boston Globe, Chicago Sun-Times, Cars.com, and Car and Driver. Expert in my field, I've been on CBS Sunday Morning. I was on News Nation. I've been on the Cars Yeah podcast, Consumer Guide Auto podcast, Truck Show podcast, and a variety of podcasts at other YouTube channels. If I may. I've also produced work on different internet brands, automotive groups, consisting of Chevrolet Forum, Dodge Forum, Ford-Trucks.com, mbworld.org, 5series.net, jk-forum.com, and yodertech.com. I also wrote for Torque News and Car News Cafe. Dude, that took me a while to get all that together, all the links and stuff. And this is wow. I forgot the car. I have this little car YouTube channel too. I've been kind of just playing with it here and there. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. Website hasn't changed a whole lot this last week. Jill and I have been traveling doing stuff. She did do the Jeep Wagoneer S, midsize Jeep, which we'll show that on the YouTube channel. She did a video on that. Yeah, it's right here. This is the Jeep Wagoneer S. It's what's interesting with Jeep Wagoneer S is Jeep is trying to be Cadillac Lyric competitor. Not sure about that one. Let's see. I had the update from my friend Vic Shepard. He's getting close to million mile Tundra ×2. I did talk about XPEL and the ceramic coating with XPEL. They were really happy with the video. I made one small error in that video. I showed them buffing, and it wasn't doing the clear coat. So I was a little bit ceramic coat. Excuse me. So it's my mistake, and we edited that part of the video and put a note above. So my mistake on that one. We do have a deep dive in Toyota 4Runner Platinum. And then we did a different comparisons with the features. This is a good video. It's a tough title. It's a tough one to get traction, but talked about hybrid versus turbo, premium versus base, and we drove the cheapest Toyota 4Runner. So maybe I could have several videos and had 5 videos of 4Runner on there, but I didn't really want to do all that stuff. I just thought maybe do one, but maybe lesson learned. Jill did a tech check on the Rivian R1S. It was interesting. So she learned stuff through the video, and she explained through the video how she learned stuff. And people are kind of giving her some crap about not knowing it and taking her time and getting a walkthrough kind of stuff. Guys, she had like 10 minutes to do the video. You don't have all the time in the world to shoot stuff. And then she has Nissan Murano we just dropped this morning. Did they nail it? Did they not? Or excuse me, last night I put that out. And new Nissan Murano looks really good on the interior and exterior. So good stuff on that. All right, that's what I had for you this week on this week's Truck News Recap. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.